Alright, fanboyos, this is Enigma Hood, and I'm gonna make a prediction about Duke Nukem Forever. I predict that it will be a failure. Now, I don't think it will be a critical disaster. I don't think it will be given reviews as bad as, like, let's say, Daikatana. But I think it's gonna get reviews somewhere in the 80 range. Okay, I would guess probably like 80, maybe a few 70s, out of 100 scale, something like that. And not that those are bad reviews, but for a game that took 14 years to make, that would be so disappointing, so incredibly disappointing. It would not meet our expectations. So that the game would, as a result, even though it might actually be good, it would still be a commercial failure. Now, why do I think this? I have pieces of evidence accumulated that support my argument. Metroid Other M. I just beat that a few days ago, and it was a good game. It was a good game, and most of the reviews gave it somewhere in the 70 and 80 range. However, our expectations of Metroid Other M, and Metroid in general, are through the roof. We have high expectations for that game series because it's been putting out high-quality games consistently. And for Metroid Other M to not meet those expectations, to be disappointing, has a catastrophic effect on sales. Even though it is, in fact, a good game, there's a reason for why it's selling for such a low price compared to other first-party Nintendo games. Because it did not meet expectations. Similarly, I think the same fate awaits Duke Nukem Forever. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think it's going to be a dated game. I think it's just going to be disappointing. For 14 years, this is what we get. A game that's, somewhere in the 80 percentile range. That's not worth waiting 14 years for. Give me a fucking break. Now, more recently, I have beaten a game called Prey. Big fucking surprise. Everybody knows about Prey. Anyone who is a Duke Nukem fanboy, you should know about Prey. Prey was a game that was being developed around the time when they first announced Duke Nukem Forever, and it was actually supposed to be more technologically advanced. It was going to use this portal system and all that crap, but then development fell through because they were dividing their resources too much between Duke Nukem Forever and Prey. Eventually they got Human Head to develop the game for them, and they finished it. And I played it, and it was a good game. I'd give it like an 80 out of 100. The problem with that game is that it really didn't distinguish itself that much. I mean, the portals were cool, but other than that, there really wasn't anything else that was particularly interesting about it. The gameplay was fun, but, the gunplay, it felt dated. It felt like, this is the kind of gameplay we were playing back in, the late 90s, early 2000s. It's not like the kind of gunplay that we have these days with, like, Killzone 2, or Halo Reach, or whatever. So it just felt old. And, I think that it's going to be exactly the same situation with Duke Nukem Forever. I think it's just going to be a really dated gameplay design. There's going to be nothing really about it that's going to set itself apart from other games. It's a straightforward action shooter, which is, I guess, okay, but in some ways, we've moved on since then. Really the biggest selling thing is the so-called interactivity that 3D Realms keeps on talking about how, great interactivity was. Let me be honest with you. Interactivity was all the rage in the late 90s. Okay? These days, it's all about... there's so many more things. Like, we've implemented RPG elements, open world gameplay, better combat, better physics, all kinds of things that have advanced since those days. Interactivity is, like, for that to be interesting is antiquated. I really don't think that's going to put Duke Nukem Forever through the roof in terms of a reaction from both gamers and professional reviewers, professional game critics. And as a result, I do think it will be a commercial failure, and I think it will be a critical disappointment. Not a critical failure, but a disappointment. That's my prediction. If I'm wrong, I will eat my words. I will make a video saying I was wrong, and that I'll post it as a response to this video, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I think I'm going to be right. Okay? I think this game is going to be very ordinary. It's not going to be setting its... Other than the name, other than the fact that it's infamous for taking so long, there's really going to be nothing to it that's particularly interesting, and I think popularity will decline very quickly, and it will be a failure, and there is no fucking way that 3D Realms will be able to recuperate the cost that they have invested in this game. Things are already looking really bad, right? I mean, there was that fucking Duke Nukem game for the Nintendo DS. Apparently that actually came out, and to everyone's disappointment, it's been getting awful reviews. I've never played it myself. Maybe I'll check it out one day to see what the fuck is going on with it. I'm not expecting much because it's been getting 40s and 50s from game reviewers. So it looks like a piece of shit, and it probably is a piece of shit, but whatever. That's not a good sign. But then again, it really has nothing to do with what 3D Realms and Gearbox... was it Gearbox? Yeah, Gearbox has been doing with Duke Nukem Forever. We'll see what's up in 1 month. It's going to be exactly 1 month from today. Duke Nukem Forever is going to be released. And so, we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. But I'm predicting it. I'm very much like the Prophet Muhammad. I'm going to be prophesizing this thing in advance. So you remember that I was the one who called it all along. This is Enigma Hood signing off.